Hello, and welcome to my first ASMR video. I have never done anything like this before. So, sorry if it's kind of bad, but I'm trying my best. So, we are going to be doing an ASMR video on Guy Anderson from American Horror Story. Just because. Because. Why not? You know. So, I have been a really big fan of American Horror Story since 2020. And I grew up watching it. Well, not really watching it, but my parents watched it a lot. I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I watched it anyways whenever I was 12. And I watched Murder House first, and then immediately decided to watch Cult for whatever reason, and Cult has been my favorite ever since. So, we've got the American Horror Story wiki pulled up right here. And I am going to read from it. So let's get started. Guy Anderson is a cult leader from a Michigan suburb. He is a character in Cult, portrayed by Evan Peters. Before he was radicalized by personal trauma, he was a typical internet troll who hadn't realized yet the power in manipulating emotions. His following was known as FIT, which expanded as he continued reeling in new recruits with his gifted charisma. What Kai started as a small group of locals had metastasized. I'm going to actually try to pronounce this. Metastasized. Metastasized. I don't fucking know, man. As he became increasingly prolific in the political media, he was hell-bent on spreading chaos to take over the world, only to have his ego be his ultimate undoing. In 2014, Kai returned home after getting a degree in religious studies. He claimed to Beverly that he was in the army and served a tour in Iraq. Wells graduated from Yale with a double degree in pole science and feminist studies. His father was a lawyer who was injured in a motorcycle accident and was paralyzed from the waist down. This led to him being abusive towards his wife, and he accused her of having an affair. He spent his time there alone. Guy spent his time there alone, lurking on websites such as r/redpill on his laptop. Guy states that before the accident, his father was firm but fair with the his mother. One night, Kai hears a muffled argument. One night, Kai hears a muffled argument. Then later, a gunshot. He finds that his mother, no longer able to stand the abuse and accusations, has shot his father. Then, in an act of insanity, turns the gun on herself and pulls the trigger in front of Kai. Clearly in shock, Kai calls his older brother, Rudy Vincent, who convinces Kai that the best course of action is to cover up the murder-suicide. He reasons that they will have to sell the house, and that their sister Wendy will not be able to finish college due to the loss of their parents' income. Also, Vincent had just started his therapist practice and doesn't want to explain to clients that his parents murdered each other. After locking pinkies, they put their parents' bodies in a bed, cover them with lye, then lock the door and leave them to decompose. Now, locking pinkies is something that Kai does throughout the series continuously. And it is a way for him to feel connected to the person he's talking to. And it seems like Kai got it from his older brother, Vincent. When Kai asked what he should say to Winter, Vincent tells him to wait and tell her that when she returns, and to tell her once he returns home for Thanksgiving. Once Winter returns home, she is very understandably upset that they have kept their parents' death from her. She threatens to turn them in, but Kai uses Vince's logic on her, asking who will pay for Vassar, which is the university that Winter is in. 3 years later, and the bodies are still in the house, Kai admits to Beverly that he still talks to his mother, despite their status. He still talks to his mother's decomposing body, holding her hand, and he shames and blames and insults the corpse of his father, blaming him for what happened. And he discloses that he gets pleasure from watching his father rot and decompose. At one point, later in the season, he promises to his mother's rotting corpse that he will become something big for her. Now, this is, telling you right now that this isn't written very well. So, I apologize if some of the sentences I'm saying aren't making much sense. And I'm trying to reword it to be a little bit better. But it's not fully working. Sometime after the horrific death of his parents, him and his sister both fall off the deep end. They both live in their basement, where they spend most of their time venturing on the dark web, trolling alt-right extremists, often posing online as one of them. They test the limits of how crazy these extremists could be by proclaiming beliefs they pretend to have as a part of acting their role. One night, while doing this, an ad popped up for Pastor Charles' Judgment House. It's an evangelical hell house led by the Grace Pastor Charles. On election night, Guy walks in unbound to Gary Longstreet, urging him not to scream too loud in the current predicament, lest he attracts the wrong kind of attention. Guy manipulates and riles up the humiliated man and convinces him to sever his own hand with a saw so that he can cast his vote for Trump in an act of destroying the radical left. Guy accompanies the injured Jerry to their local voting booth. He watches with some amount of glee as Gary shouts, "Welcome to Trump's America, motherfuckers." After election night, Guy begins drawing all kinds of people to him. He requests Harrington Wilton as his personal trainer and calls him strong. Guy is quick to point out the humiliating aspect of Harrison's work situation, being constantly humiliated by his boss, Vinny, for being gay. He wins Harrison over by advising him to reject labels and promises that he will always be there for him, no matter their differences. After Guy's first session with Harrison, Guy masturbates in the gym shower and lures Harrison in to watch. He declares that he will clean up his own ejaculation. As his sessions with Harrison are ending, Guy notices that his trainer starts to sound like Vinny. When he confronted Harrison, Harrison almost tearfully admits that his life is falling apart and that he's nobody going anywhere. Guy convinces his first devotee that nowhere is the ideal jumping off point. That night, Guy assists Harrison in murdering Vinny and disposing of any evidence linking them to the crime. Meadow walks in on the pair of them, dismembering Vinny's corpse. Guy is able to sway Meadow to his side by praising her artistic abilities, designing the eerie, ghoulish clown masks, which are the very masks that they use to murder people. Guy becomes interested in the news reporter, Beverly Hope. He discovers that after repeated live pussy-grabbing taunts, Beverly assaulted one of her hecklers and admitted herself to a psychiatric hospital. He catches the frustrated reporter slashing a rival's tires and advises her on how to do it more efficiently, closer to the sidewall. Guy invites Beverly over for dinner and impresses her by accurately stating her problems. The aspiring leader next explains his philosophy he did. The aspiring leader next explains his philosophy to Beverly and offers to make her his spokesperson and partner. Realizing that as the reporter, Beverly requires proof, and not just words, Kai requests a few days to deliver said proof. After seeing footage of her hated rival, Serena's gory demise, Beverly realizes the Kai is the one that made it happen. The rage-filled reporter seeks out Kai and proclaims that she's ready to believe in him. Kai hugs Beverly close and once again promises her equal partnership. Prior to his parents' gruesome deaths, Kai appeared to function normally and was, by society's standards, an average teenager. After witnessing his mother's and father's murder-suicide, and then biblically motivated violence of Pastor Charles, Kai snapped and became mentally unstable, obsessed with the lust for power. By the events of Cult, he is 30 years old, and has shoulder-length hair dyed blue, which he sometimes dyes back into a bun. He appears to be relatively muscular, and has a lean build sporting toned abs and biceps. Okay. Well, maybe I just have high standards, but I don't think the guy is this buff, and I toned it down too. The actual line is written here is, he appears to be very muscular and has a lean build sporting toned abs and biceps. He is fair-skinned and frequently switches between the attire of a cult leader and, when in the face of the public, the suit of a professional councilman. I don't think that Kai is very muscular, though. He does work out, but he kind of just looks average, in my opinion. Embodying a terrifying blend of toxic masculinity and manipulative charisma, Kai is obsessed with the concept of fear and aspires to use it to manipulate people. He states in his speech that his desire to release chaos and achieve change, suggesting he is delusional. He is noted for holding the mentality that not everyone can be saved, and that in order for the world to flourish and regrow, the world should be burned down to rebuild another one. He is extremely decisive in his beliefs. Kai tested as a genius when he was a young child and was invited to join Mensa, but declined because, according to him, he was also very troubled. This would appear to be true, as Kai has demonstrated all signs of a sociopath, and is extremely manipulative and charming. Is devoid of a moral compass or a conscience and has absolutely no feelings or empathy or remorse towards other people. He appears to lack fear, as evidenced when he harassed several Latin American workers on the street in order to intentionally be beaten by them, imploring Harrison and Meadow Wilton to record the inciting violence as a means of furthering his political agenda, which revolved around gaining the radically motivated fear of the public. Despite this, he's described by his sister as having severe paranoia, a fact supported by Kai's exceeding detachment from reality and the inability to distinguish who is his friends and who is not, who is his hallucinations or who are actual people, including seeing and communicating with visions of other cult figures in history, such as Charles Manson. His harassment towards ethnic minorities and the LGBT community are incisive elements for him to being perceived as a racist and homophobe, although it is not entirely clear whether he is actually biased against them, or just exploits pre-existing prejudices and tensions to create chaos in the surrounding environment. I do not think that he is racist or homophobic, because his favorite is Beverly Hope. And he appreciates the anger that black people have. He also used the anger that Latin Americans have for their prejudice as a good step stool for his campaign. And as for being a homophobe, he is certainly not a homophobe. Due to his support for Harrison and Samuel, and he has gay sex in the show, and even offers to get rid of his male friend's hard-on. He is, if we were to slap a label on it, seemingly bisexual. He is, however, openly misogynistic, viewing women as inferior to men, and holds the belief that they are incapable of holding places of power and importance in society. Despite this, he has displayed a sexual interest in both males and females, although it is unclear if he is actually attracted to them, or just uses sexual orientations as a means to further entrance others into following his deranged viewpoints. See, I don't think this. I don't think that he liked the people he was sleeping with, per se. But he has to get a hard-on to have sex with them. So, regarding sexual feelings, he doesn't have a problem with men or women. He intentionally masturbated in front of Harrison Wilton in the gym shower as a means of attracting him to join his cult, and later shared a one-night stand with the detective Samuels for the same reason, who he was able to convince that sex with men is better than with any woman. Additionally, he describes Samuels to his sister as being quite attractive. He has also stated to Harrison Wilton that this is just recapping what I just said, that if a man had a hard-on that he woke by, that he would do things to him out of a motive of love. Interesting enough, he was responsible for neither of these men's deaths, unlike other members of his cult that he directly targeted. Kai may be aroused by the concept. Okay. I don't know if I want to read this part. Kai may be aroused by the concept of incest, as he has attempted a threesome between himself, his sister, and Samuels as a means of giving birth to a Messiah baby. After Mr. Samuel's inability to become aroused by the situation and his sister's refusal to partake in the act, Kai has since come to believe that his son is Oz Mayfair Richards. Kai was watching the 2016 election alone in his basement and was delighted by the news of Trump's victory, while his sister Winter was devastated by it, having worked for Clinton's campaign. Kai went to Winter's room to gloat about the win, and they proceeded to lock pinkies. Later, Kai attended a city council meeting, which Mr. Jings served on. After security for the local Jewish community center, Kai states his objections, talking about the using fear to control people, though the council disagrees with him, and the motion is passed. Later, Kai is seen harassing a group of Hispanic men on the streets by filling a condom with his urine and throwing it on them while yelling racist slurs. The men beat up Kai, while the unknown person records it. That unknown person is Meadow and Harrison Wilton. After his vicious beating, Kai, wearing a suit and an endearing arm brace, is interviewed by various reporters in front of the city hall, as he intends to propose himself as a city councilor. The Trump supporter is quick to point the finger at those dangerous illegal immigrants for a mishap of further stokes of the fires, for his mishaps and further stokes the fire of ignorance and hatred. Later, Kai just happens to show up at Allie's newly fortified house. Sensing that she is very uneasy, he does his best to augment this woman's sense of unease even more. Kai shared a moment of kindness with Allie as she was attacked by protesters outside her restaurant. The butcher young man, stating how he took care of her, as he promised. Later, Kai recruited both Meadow and Harrison Wilton, performing the pinky ritual with each of them individually. The young man had spurred the couple to reveal their deepest fears and desires, but not before releasing his own anger on Meadow, accusing her of wasting his time. Kai Anderson is sent to jail as Allie submitted him to a SWAT team. Kai recruited a fellow inmate and used him to stimulate himself and escape prison. Okay. Kai then visited Allie Mayfair Richards' arsenic campaign, only to be shot by Beverly. This kind of skips a whole lot, doesn't it? Well, that's the end of this. Some quotes are, "Enjoy your latte, bitch." What fills your heart with dread? What's the thing that scares you the most? Vote Kai Anderson. Vote for the man who can take your fear away. A man with no label has an allegiance only to what is right. Pain is a call to action. Pain is essential, just like anger is. Take pain in one hand and anger in the other, and use them. So, that was the wiki page for Kai Anderson. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and let me know. And I might make some other